On November 22nd, 1963, John F. Kennedy was shot right here in Dealey Plaza. Secret Service agents jumped into action, and within seconds, the presidential limousine was racing toward the closest hospital. Now, just a few minutes from here, doctors at Parkland Memorial Hospital rushed JFK into a small emergency room known as Trauma Room 1. Inside that room, doctors fought desperately to save his life. But today, that room doesn't exist anymore. It was demolished. And the most important pieces of that room were quietly removed and shipped hundreds of miles away to a secret underground government archive place. And today, my friends, we're going to retrace that journey. Hey y'all, my name is Nick and I travel across North America in search of dark history locations as well as famous graves. And in today's video, we're discussing a topic a little less known regarding the Kennedy assassination. So most people know about Dealey Plaza, the Texas School Book Depository, and the official investigation by the Warren Commission. But very few people know what eventually happened to the room where doctors tried to save the president's life. Trauma Room 1. At Parkland Hospital. Today we are heading into downtown Dallas to retrace that story, and later in the video we're going to go somewhere very unusual. About 500 or so miles from Dallas, outside Kansas City, Missouri, there's a massive underground storage facility where the federal government stores historical records. And inside those caves, the remaining pieces of Trauma Room 1 still exist today. And as strange as it sounds, the room where doctors attempted to save President Kennedy's life was eventually dismantled, boxed up, and placed in storage. And today, it's locked away in a massive underground archive. But to understand how it ended up there, we have to go back to the day Kennedy was shot. Heading into downtown Dallas today, I invite you to join me. We should be in for a good one. Let's go. My friends, we have made it to Dealey Plaza. And this is unfortunately where on November 22nd, 1963, President John F. Kennedy was assassinated. Been here before, but it's always so like, I don't even have the words for it. It's so sad to come back each time. At approximately 12:30 p.m., gunshots rang out as the presidential motorcade passed through Dealey Plaza. Shots struck President Kennedy and Texas Governor John Connally. Secret Service agent Clint Hill famously jumped onto the back of the limousine as it sped away. And the driver accelerated toward the nearest hospital, just minutes away, Parkland Memorial Hospital. Within minutes, JFK would be rushed into the emergency room known as Trauma Room 1, and that is where one of the most intense medical procedures in American history would ever take place. And yes, if you're wondering, this right here, this is the exact location where Abraham Zapruder was standing when he shot the famous JFK assassination video. right here. I'll give you guys a better look. Mr. Abraham Zapruder, Dallas dressmaker Abraham Zapruder, stood on the top of this pedestal with his receptionist standing behind to steady him. He was the only photographer known to have filmed the entire assassination, and images proved crucial to understanding what happened. Zapruder made copies of his film available to investigators within hours of the president's death. It's just still unbelievable to think that this shot right here was filmed by a man standing right here and pointing his camera right here. If we were tracking Kennedy's motorcade, it would come this way, then, as we all know, make its turn around the corner right down here. And the final shot was right there where that X is. Now, even though I live in Dallas, I really don't come down here at all much, really just to film. So I want to, if you've never seen my channel before, or these locations or these videos, I want to show you some key points in this Dealey Plaza area. So they have a quote that was supposed to be said by JFK once he arrived here in Dallas. So you can see at the bottom, this is from the speech that President Kennedy was to deliver at the Dallas Trade Mart on November 22nd, 1963. The speech that would never happen. You know, sometimes there's just no words that really need to be said. Here's the famous grassy knoll. When I do these type of videos, you know, I say sometimes I try to my best to put myself back in the past, back in those shoes of the men and women that were here that day, and just think there's photos of families that are sitting just like I am right now, watching the president come down, and then I'm directly across the final, the death shot, kill shot. Feels wrong saying that, but that's what it is, you know. And what those people saw. If we zoom in a little, center of your screen, on the 6th floor, right there, you could see they still have a box propped up in the window. But there's shot 1 and 2. And then the final 3rd shot. And to think Abraham Zapruder would have stood right there with his 1963 video camera and recorded it all. Before we leave this area and head on to the next location, I want to, because people asked in previous videos, how come you didn't do that spot? But there's, you know, the fence back there that, whatever you believe, I don't have the energy to get into all that today. But if there was a second shooter, supposedly that shooter would have been behind that fence. So let's head back across the street and we shall go check that out next. the fence area that, if there was a second shooter, this is that location, which there's still a fence here today. I guess it's one of those things that the world may just never fully know. And now behind the fence is the parking lot for the 6'4" museum. If you're in Dallas, highly recommend coming to tour that museum. Alrighty, we're leaving Dealey Plaza, and right now we are going to head to where the part of the hospital that was old Parkland Hospital, where Trauma Room 1 was. It has been demolished. There's a new Parkland Hospital, but I know exactly where the location is. So let's hop in the car and drive, I don't know, about 10 minutes or so there.
We can see the First Lady's paint suit. That's the only identification we could see, but we know it is the President's car. Another car directly behind the presidential car. There were also bodies in that car. Another Secret Service man spread eagle over them. We don't know. Perhaps there was some hid in that car as well. We're not sure. And just now we've received reports here at Parkland that Governor Connolly was shot in the upper left chest, and the first unconfirmed reports say the President was hit in the head. That's an unconfirmed report that the President was hit in the head. The President's wife, Jackie Kennedy, was not hurt. She walked into the hospital, had her husband stretcher side. And a Dallas newsman, Mel Couch, said he was riding shortly behind the President in the parade. He said after the shots were fired, he happened to look up at about the 5th or 6th floor of the Texas Book Depository. He said he saw the rifle being pulled back in.
President Kennedy has been given a blood transfusion at Parkland Hospital here in Dallas in an effort to save his life after he and Governor John Connolly of Texas were shot in an assassination attempt in downtown Dallas. A priest has been ordered, emergency supplies of blood also being rushed to the hospital.
Just a moment. We have a bulletin coming in. We now switch you directly to Parkland Hospital and KBOX News Director Bill Hampton.
The President of the United States is dead.
This is it. No longer here. The time was 12:38 p.m. when President John F. Kennedy was brought right here, and he was rushed directly to Trauma Room 1.
When all of a sudden I heard this, I smelled rubber burning. I mean, a horrible smell. And at the same time that I had that, I think it's where the doors were opening, then all of these policemen came screaming in saying, we need an ambulance carriage, we need something, come help us, we have an emergency.
And inside Trauma Room 1, a team of doctors immediately began working to save the president's life. Among them were doctors like Malcolm Perry and a very young doctor by the name of Charles Carrico. They attempted emergency procedures, but the damage, as we all know, was just too catastrophic. And despite the efforts of the doctors, President John F. Kennedy was pronounced officially dead at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time on that horrible Texas day, November 22nd, 1963, right here in Dallas.
Those who wish to make the trip to Parkland Hospital find a floral circlet marking that space which the hospital chillingly calls Trauma Room Number 1. It was here that the stricken president was rushed, and here that he was pronounced dead at 1 p.m. that day, despite the best efforts of the best physicians. There were 8 of them who served before the ordeal was over. They have not labored there since then without the vivid memories crowding in on them. Trauma room number 1 was not used today. The hospital administration ordered that, in deference to what happened a year ago, the room remain empty, except for some extreme emergency. Medically, Mr. Kennedy was dead when brought in, but the battle under the white light went on for most of half an hour, when he became the 4th American president to succumb to an assassin's wounds.
And I just thought of something. Speaking of Dr. Carrico, if you've ever seen the movie Parkland, maybe you'll remember Dr. Carrico was played by Zac Efron in the movie Parkland. And if you've never seen it, well, you definitely want to check it out if you're into this type of stuff. It's all about, you know, when the president was shot. That's just a little bit, but it's mostly the focus on the entire movie is what happened here at Parkland after, and then how they would get JFK's body back to DC.
The hospital set up to primarily take care of the indigent patients of Dallas. The job in a patient who's severely injured, it kind of goes in the steps of do what takes to keep the patient alive. Then you go back and evaluate the injuries more detail and kind of make your long-term plan.
What I understand and what I've gathered from my research and looking up old Google Map footage of what this hospital looked like before it was demolished just a few years ago. This was the road the president's motorcade would have come down. I am not sure if it was this way or this way, but regardless, the emergency room entrance was over here. I believe the president's motorcade, his body, that was right back here. It's hard to tell today. If we put in some clips though, you know, you could see, but here's what it looks like today, unfortunately demolished. Look at this, you can still even see the original brick that was here, definitely from the old Parkland. For years after the assassination, Trauma Room 1 became one of the most historically significant medical rooms in the United States, if not all time, but it wasn't preserved. When the old Parkland Hospital moved to a new facility in the 70s, the original was scheduled for demolition. After the president died in Trauma Room 1, that room was never used again. Even though that part of the building was still here, that room was left untouched, and they put a little plaque up, you know, saying what happened in there. So what happened to the room? Well, before the old hospital was torn down, something unusual happened. Recognizing the historical significance of the room, government archivists carefully removed portions of Trauma Room 1. Walls, fixtures, and even structural elements were all preserved. And those pieces were sent to the National Archives. Now, first they were moved to the city of Fort Worth, Texas, which is about 30 minutes outside of Dallas. And it remained there for a couple years, but then somewhere along the way, instead of placing the artifacts inside a museum, the materials were transported hundreds of miles away to a massive underground storage facility. And as far as the materials that were saved, it's kind of unbelievable, but it was like everything. They saved the medical gloves, obviously the table, whatever contents were in that room, even down to the paper towels and the little, you know, metal bin that like the paper towels would be in. Any medical equipment you can think of back then was all saved and secretly moved away. That's pretty crazy. Is there a reason behind it? I don't know. Did they just want to preserve that piece of history? I don't know. I don't know. I said this earlier. Questions we may never know. So next I'm going to snap my fingers like the magician I am. Ha! I made it funny. And we are going to be transported to Lenexa, Kansas, where we will see the caves. We'll talk about it more when we get there. We'll see the caves where all the contents, the material of Trauma Room 1 is today. Let's go. And just like that, friends, I've made my way to Lenexa, Kansas. This underground government storage facility is 2 minutes down the road. I think I can get close to where the entrance is. I'm probably not gonna film I'm not gonna be there for 10 minutes. I'll probably be there for 5. See what we can see, but like I said, gonna have to try and be careful because no one has ever done this as far as YouTube goes. And I definitely think I'm gonna be on camera, so people are gonna see me just like this. So like I said, we'll see what we can see. Down that way is where Trauma Room 1 stays intact. And we made it. If I zoom in a hair, National Archives and Records Administration, highly restricted area. Wow. So yeah, we were just right up there. Came down here. And this is a mega huge underground storage facility. I'll throw in some photos now. Under here, this is where JFK's Trauma Room 1 stands today. As I may have mentioned earlier, it was locked for a long time in a vault in Fort Worth, not too far where I am, in a warehouse, and it was also run by the National Archives and Records Administration. And then September 2015, it was moved here to Lenexa, Kansas. Obviously, there's not much to see, but all behind me, if you look on Google Maps, it's pretty cool. There's like an overhead thing where it's just all dirt and pretty crazy, but this is a 600,000 square foot storage facility, and it's called the Caves. It's where they keep so much stuff. But this section, like I said, National Archives and Records entrance right here. And as I've said how many times already, Trauma Room 1 is stored here right in there somewhere. Crazy. And we made it back. Now that we have the full story, as you can see, it's kind of sad, but it's the reality. The original Parkland Hospital where JFK's body was taken to, demolished, no longer here. Trauma Room 1 is still together in a government archival place, but the story is still highly interesting. I know there's a lot of people out there who will probably ask, so why did they get rid of this and build an all-new Parkland Hospital? Well, here's why. Because of Parkland's high volume of patients, this led to the decision by the Dallas County Commissioner's Court to propose replacing the overcrowded 50-plus-year-old building with a brand new 1,700,000 square foot, 17-story, 862 bed facility, along with a new 380,000 square foot outpatient center, a 275,000 square foot office facility, and parking for 6,000 cars. The total cost would be about $1.27 billion. Yeah, that's a lot of money. And if we zoom in, there is the new updated Parkland today. This is actually the Children's Center right here where we're at. But new Parkland Hospital is right there. And in a strange way, that's really how the story of Trauma Room 1 ends. A room that witnessed one of the most pivotal moments in American history. stored away, never to be seen by the public eye, at least anytime soon. Well, that's going to wrap it up for me. I want to thank my channel members. You know who you are. Thank you so much. If you're interested in becoming a Beyond the Grave channel member, and click the join button, I'd appreciate it. And if you want to see more JFK Oswald videos, check out the playlist here. I also got Dark History playlist over there, and I'll see you in the next one.